It's 10:30 a.m. just off Dublin's Moore Street, and staff at 7 Bikes shop are starting for the day. Opened 2 years ago by a former food delivery rider, the business rents out and repairs electric bikes to current food delivery riders.
Most of the riders is from Latin America, most of them is from Brazil, and but we have many from another countries as well. Countries from Somalia, Afghanistan, Turkey, the refugees people as well.
Like an Irish bar in Kilburn or South Boston in decades past, this shed is now a hub at the heart of Dublin's Brazilian community. This morning, those present discussed what has happened last night. Popular rider Felipe Carvalho, who also rides a rickshaw to supplement his income, was attacked by 3 men who punched him in the face.
Did you see Felipe's attack yesterday? How did you find out?
I found out because I received a video on WhatsApp that he recorded here crying. He said he was parked with the rickshaw on Grafton Street.
Acabei de ser vítima de furto ali na Grafton. Eu estava ali na Grafton com o rickshaw sozinho e fui cercado por 3 homens. Eles roubaram meu celular. Eu fui atrás deles com o rickshaw. No que eu parei para poder tentar pegar o celular de deles, eles viraram o meu rickshaw, me deram soco no nariz e saíram correndo.
Jean has been trying to get in contact with Felipe. He also fears xenophobia may have played a part in the attack.
We have many cases that it's not only about like I want to get your phone, but it's being about like oh, you are from another country, or you know, it's not only the phone. It's being more complicated because they are attacking the people. It's not about only rob the phone and get out. No, they want to punch him, and they make this kind of things.
Actually, I think that we have a gang against Brazilian people here, you know?
Yeah?
Yeah, because I don't know why, and I don't know when, but they started to push us, to rob our bikes, to attack us with rocks, with knives, and every day we have some situations.
I love this country, but you know what? Something needs to change because it's a right mess while working. I've been hitting the head with a rock, I've been hitting the leg with a rock, I've been hitting my face.
Então, pessoal, fico alerta. Realmente, tomar cuidado nas ruas, ficar atento ao celular, porque a coisa realmente está feia. Meu nariz sangrou como nunca tinha sangrado na vida. Eu tô bem, só tô assim, meio em estado de choque ainda, né, com tudo que aconteceu, porque eu nunca tinha passado por uma situação dessa. Mas eu tô bem e amanhã é um novo dia.
Fiacro Loon has been campaigning to improve riders' pay and conditions since 2020. So, given the dangers, what is the appeal of being a delivery rider?
So basically, if you arrive in this country and you don't have much English, it's an attractive option initially, because basically you can rock up to somewhere and you pay a deposit, you rent a bike, and then you rent an account from somebody who owns the named account holder.
If a rider is here on study visa, they are only allowed work 20 hours a week. They are not allowed to be self-employed. So the riders cannot apply directly to work for the delivery platforms, but there is a workaround.
In order to have an account with Deliveroo, Just Eat or Uber Eats, so they must be either Irish, European citizen or have a stamp 4 visa. What happens then is that the person who is the named account very often will rent that account out to somebody else, making a passive income from the labour of somebody else. The reason that they don't work this job themselves is because anyone who is able to work legally has other options. So basically what you have is a 2-tier labour system, and the creation of a sort of subclass of worker who is not guaranteed minimum wage, very often much less, around half of that, and can work up to 14 hours a day for €70, and it's a lottery.
A lot of riders pay between €50 and €100 per week to rent a delivery account from somebody else. When they're up and running, they can be seen waiting around on orders to come into the app. And every minute you're waiting, it's a minute you're not getting paid for.
I come morning 11 o'clock, then I will go 5 o'clock back to home. Then after 7, I will start till 12. Almost 10, 12 hours we have to work.
So you work 10, 12 hours a day, and
if we work maybe 80 to 90 euros, in weekend we can earn more than 100 euros.
throughout a week, what roughly would you make?
500 like this, 450, sometimes 600 also. When there is any order, it will just blink. It will show the name, the restaurant, and the price, and the kilometer, how much kilometer is there.
Okay, and you accept that order?
Yeah, if I accept, then I have to complete. If I just leave it like this, it will cancel.
Okay.
Example, if you have the ride for 6 kilometer, they will pay like €5, 550 like this. Per kilometer, €1.
Delivery riders communicate through a series of WhatsApp groups, and some advertise much needed accommodation. In one group with nearly 1,000 members, most ads are in Portuguese. If you're looking to live near the city centre, you'll pay between €500 to €625 for a bunk bed or bed space in a shared room. You can get your own room if you want to live further out, where the going rate is approximately €1,000.
Rent is very expensive in Ireland, Accommodation is very high. I am paying almost €608 for bed space. Example, in one room, they are living 3 people. In one bed, we have to pay €608.
So
accommodation is very high.
So 680 for one room, okay.
One room.
And how many are living in the house?
Maybe 8 to 10 people like this.
Expensive and cramped living conditions and battling the Irish weather, food delivery riders' lives are a particular snapshot of Ireland in 2024.
Yeah, on a day like today, it's nice for me to be sat at home and think I don't want to go outside and go to the shop or go to the takeaway to pick up my dinner, and I can get someone else to take on that hard job for me. You definitely hear people use the phrase slaves to the algorithm, and I suppose in a lot of walks of work, some of us will be working to the tune of what an algorithm wants from us, or even demanding certain metrics, or that you hit certain goals based on what an algorithm has calculated for your job. It's not different for this industry. It's probably just feels a bit more like you're at the whims of a machine, especially when your wages are controlled by it, when the actual payment that you might get for a job is calculated based on an algorithm rate that is completely obscure to you.
Will Monaghan used food delivery app riders when he opened one society on Dublin's Gardner Street 6 years ago.
When we opened, we started using 2 of the delivery partners straight away. We had a look at the stats for the area, and we thought we were going to be super busy. We thought we'd be out the door. And to be honest, it was never really busy. These riders can be really busy. They're cherry-picking the busier areas because they want to stay and hover around those areas because that's where they'll get the business. So although we're in Dublin 1, though we're in Gardner Street, we're still a little bit away from, we call it, a busier area. So it can be hard to get a rider sometimes to come out here.
Additionally, like much of his sector, Will is critical that food delivery platforms can take up to a third of what you pay for your overall order.
In terms of cut, look, it's around 30% if you're using their cyclists, their riders.
Will is just about to open a second restaurant in a busier locale with more riders in the area.
The platforms can work, but if the product has to travel too far and the riders aren't in the area, it's going to affect it. So I hope it'll work. I hope it'll work better for us, and we're going to have to find out.
24 hours later, Felipe appears back in the garage. Occasional delivery rider Isabelle asks him about the risks associated with the job.
What do you think of Dublin? What do you think of Dublin compared to other cities you have lived in?
I've lived in the city centre of a big city in Brazil, and I also lived in Sao Paulo. And in those 2 cities, I never had my phone stolen or been assaulted. And here it happened.
What do you think of working at night?
Very risky. Working on the streets of Dublin at night, in the city centre, from the time I've been living here, I've noticed that it's getting more and more dangerous, every day.
News of the attacks on delivery riders was covered by this Brazilian broadcaster in the last fortnight.
Can you believe that there's a wave of anti-foreigner violence in Ireland, with Brazilians being particularly targeted? It seems that some Irish people have decided that Brazilians deserve to be beaten up on the streets. Why is that?
The issue of xenophobia is palpable for many of the riders we met.
We're not here to rob jobs or anything, we're here just to serve it.
Denner told us that gangs of teenagers hanging around are sometimes intimidating.
And they have these North Face track suits, the grey ones, and they just don't like immigrants.
For Denner, even handing over food can feel like a roll of the dice. He's beginning to fear the customer.
When I'm delivering order, I don't know what to expect from the customer if he try to attack me or maybe just say some compliments. So I just keep afraid. I just thank you so much. Cheers. See you. Have a nice day. But I don't actually know what I'm gonna do. I'm starting to get afraid from the customer.
Are there certain areas you wouldn't go into because of attacks?
Yeah. There's a lot of areas that we go on Century, Cabra, Ballyfermont. I haven't been attacking Ballyfermont. Finglas. Especially in the night time, it's very, very dangerous to go there.
Beyond avoiding certain areas, riders face the ongoing risk of busy Irish roads. Primetime is aware of a female rider from Latin America who was hit by a car while riding her delivery bike in February. Due to poor English and a worry she may face huge medical bills, she got out of the ambulance that came to take her to hospital. She has since recovered from a leg injury. 2 days after the attack on Grafton Street, Felipe is wiping the bloodstains off his phone cover and getting ready to get back on the road. The job is more dangerous at night, but that's when it's busiest and there's more money to be made. Money is a concern as the pay is not what it used to be.
Before it used to be like the minimum order, like if you make some order, it was around 420. Now it's around 290, and it's been more dangerous. And there are some people that can make like 300 per week, 600 per week, depends how they work. And but now it's been more difficult because they stealing more bikes than before. They stealing a phone, as yesterday happens with our friends, so it's more difficult.
Are jobs, like working for food delivery platforms, a welcome alternative to traditional employment as they have flexible hours and you're your own boss, or do they amount to exploitation of workers?
That's how it's sold to people to recruit them for these jobs, is you don't have a boss, you can select your own hours, you work for yourself, and there's an element to that's definitely true, and there's lots of people who do enjoy that element of doing this kind of work, and some people even do it as what's called like a side hustle. There's certainly things that are of benefit to people, but I don't think it's true to say that this is all to the benefit of workers if people on your platform working for your company can say that they aren't even earning minimum wage.
Last month, the European Parliament approved new rules where platform workers may be classed as direct employees instead of contractors in the future. The rules also regulate the use of algorithms in the workplace.
Over the next 2 years, the Irish government, along with the other member states, will have to transpose this new directive into national law, and ideally this will protect workers from algorithmic exploitation. Algorithms that manage humans will have to be transparent, and all employment will either have to be genuine employment or genuine self-employment.
This creates uncertainty about the future of this type of employment. After monitoring a riders' WhatsApp group for a month, Primetime found that every other day, one of the riders has their electric bike robbed. They all have their bikes fitted with GPS trackers so they can find the whereabouts of a stolen bike. Some of them notify the Gardaí, others go to where the bike is and try to retrieve it. Another hazard of work on the streets of Dublin. It's almost 9 o'clock, and 2 hours into his first shift back on the streets after the attack, Felipe has made €20.
I need to earn at least 30, 40 euros. I earned much less than I needed. I work until I manage to hit my goal. I don't have a time to finish.
As night falls in Dublin, day gives way to a different atmosphere. In amongst it, a food delivery driver is navigating your food to you and working into the early hours. Food delivery and takeaway ordering is big business, where total annual spend in the Irish market is €2.2 billion. Consumers spend an average of almost €47 on takeaways per month. In this age of convenience, Irish people get 15% of their calories from takeaway meals. But behind most food deliveries is a worker, waiting on an order to come on a food delivery app. That rider might have weekly overheads of €170, €50 to rent an electric bike, plus €20 to rent a spare battery, and on top of that, up to €100 to rent an account from a named delivery app account holder. The rider might be paying a further €170 per week for a bed and a room shared with others. If the rider is earning as little as €1 per kilometre, they have to work 10 to 14-hour days to earn around €600 per week, and all the while wondering if they'll be robbed or face xenophobic abuse along the way. A delivery spokesperson told Primetime that its riders earn at least the national minimum wage plus costs for the time they are working, and added, "Our commission rates are competitive and mean restaurants don't need to provide delivery services themselves." A Just Eat spokesperson said couriers earn, on average, significantly more than national minimum and living wage for the time they are on an order. On commission rates charged, Just Eat said that despite rising external costs, our rates for restaurant partners remain extremely competitive in the market. The riders we met have come to Ireland chasing a dream, but some of them are very open in their belief that dream does not exist.
Eu acho que é preocupante, velho. É preocupante.
Preocupante porque você chega aqui querendo uma...
It's concerning because you come here wanting a better life and you end up being sold a dream that doesn't exist.
It doesn't exist, exactly.
You come here and it's a totally different reality.